This is episode 233 of the Rise Up Podcast. We're a morning radio show hosted by Steve and Tim on Family Life, a network of stations across New York and Pennsylvania. This podcast is a weekly conversation designed to help you think and laugh and keep your eyes on Jesus. If you haven't already, subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode. And find out more about our show at familylife.org.
It's Steve and Tim, helping you to rise up on Family Life, a friend you can turn to.
You had an experience, Steve, that made you think about how important it is to keep communication lines open with your kids at the start of another school year. This was just kind of recently, right?
Yeah, it was interesting because, you know, in schools, stories you hear sometimes about, you know, kids being bullied, and I'm thinking more like middle school age, that kind of thing. But I never experienced that with our kids who are now, you know, adults in their early 30s. And so I asked them, because they were both confident kids, but so I asked them, I said, did you guys ever experience, like, personally any of that kind of thing? And I was surprised to hear from our son. He goes, well, I felt very uncomfortable. He was never bullied, but he goes, I just felt uncomfortable when I went into like sixth grade, new school, bigger school, you know, older kids. And he goes, I felt really uncomfortable at first. And it woke me up to say, like, wow, I never asked him that at the time. Because on the outside, everything looked fine. He seemed fine, didn't have any signs of, you know, that he was having any problems. But here it was years later, and I thought, wow, as a parent, I should have asked him, how are things going, and be more specific of that. So, but it just reminds me of the whole communication thing. It's great that we can, you know, we still have communication lines open to talk about those things. But as school begins, it just reminded me of, like, not a bad idea to check in with your kids, you know, all the time, ask them specific questions, build them up in their confidence, tell them things they're doing well, basically keeping communication lines open, no matter what the situation or circumstance.
Yeah, because for my wife and I, like, and you know this, Steve, that it's a very different situation. For us, our kids are a lot younger.
Right.
And so, like, that's not their experience to have that specific conversation. But you do think about trepidation, going back to school, anxiety, nerves, and things, and whatever it might be. So for me, the thing I think about is talking with my daughter about what scares her. When I notice something scares her,
right?
Like, talk to her about it, find out, like, why it's scary, if she wants to talk about it, and think. And that's actually been really insightful for me. Like, say we've seen, and this has happened even kind of recently, something in a kid's movie that was scary to her. We were paused that we were talking about it because I thought I knew, like, oh, that the bad guy looks too scary, or whatever it might be. That could have been part of it, but what ended up actually being what bothered her was something different than I thought it was. It's because we talked, though.
Right.
And I mean, like, she's, you know, her age, 4, but still can process through, to some extent, what it is she's feeling and how it might be different than what I'm realizing. So, and I'm grateful that you've always given me this example in the conversations you and I have had about you and your kids, is to have conversations, have open lines of communication. And it can't start too early. And so that's something I've realized, like, be okay with talking with them about what they're scared of. And if they're okay with going into that, finding out why, because it might not be what you think.
You bring up a good point as far as, you know, if a kid's scared or just whatever their emotion is, a good learning tool for a parent in that situation. Some things, what not to say, and that, you know, like you shouldn't deny their emotion. I mean, if they're, like, scared, you probably shouldn't say, you don't have to be scared. That's not scary. You know, you're basically taking what they have just opened up to you with their emotion and said, no, that's not real.
Wow.
You know, like, say, oh, I understand how that could be scary.
Yeah.
Wow, that's scary. But here's, you know, it's a great, you know, everything's a teaching tool. You know, there's many, many words in the Bible about do not fear. And here's why. But I understand your fear because I've had fear too, different things. So, yeah, part of communication is hearing what other people are saying and not downgrading and saying no to you shouldn't feel that way. If they feel that way, they feel that way.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Right.
Let's go from that.
Yeah. The other thing you said too already, Steve, that I thought was interesting was I can't remember exactly how you said it, but to like encourage them about what their skills are.
Yeah. Take a positive thing, maybe as they're heading to school, and that's different at every level, first grade to college or whatever. Just say, hey, I've noticed this in you and you're really good at this, or you're really good at this, or I've seen how much you care about other people. So continuing to, continually build them up to give them confidence so they know when they go into a uncomfortable situation, they have that background, that understanding of, certainly, most importantly, how God sees them. Certainly how you see them as well, but how God sees them, and they are strong and they're mighty, and this is how God sees you. People may say this, and your friends may say this, or so-called friends, but this is how I see you, and this is how God sees you.
And that might even like to take that step to do that, to give that kind of encouragement, might be for someone unfamiliar. Maybe they never got that. Maybe they never heard somebody tell them what they were good at, and they had to wonder if they were good at anything. So maybe if you're somebody who's kind of reversing a trend, you could start that and be like, I'm going to be an encourager if I didn't have an encourager. Also, I'll just say, too, we're just going to plug it in there, that doesn't need to just be to your kids. You could do that. You don't need to have kids to be able to give that kind of encouragement when you notice something somebody's good at. And when you share it with them, I think one of two cool things could happen. One, they could say, or maybe they don't say this, but they could feel, I've been working at that, so I'm really glad somebody noticed that this is an area of strength for me. Or the other cool thing that could happen is maybe they've never thought that about themselves. Maybe they've even thought they were no good at that thing that you just complimented them for, and more than complimenting, you encouraged them and built them up in that area. And you said, hey, this is a skill, this is a strength you have. And they might think, wow, they think I'm such and such. I always worried that I wasn't. And so the effect of that and how that can travel, not just from a parent to a child, but from a friend to a friend.
You read my mind, because my next thing I was going to say was, you don't have to be a first grader or a college student. You can be 70 or 80 years old, and all of a sudden God prompts you in your spirit to go like, wow, I haven't talked to that person in a while, or I need to call them, or like you just said, I've seen them do something. It's like, wow, I just need to tell somebody at work, a friend. It's like, wow, you've been so good. You've taught me this because you're so good at this. Just to lift somebody up. One word can just totally change someone's day. So it's basically, as we said from the very beginning, keeping the communication lines open and being aware of what's going on around you. Communication with everybody, whether you're 5 years old, 2 years old, 85 years old, 102 years old.
Right.
Communication is so important to keep those lines open to others.
Today is going to be great. We just know it. This is Rise Up with Steve and Tim.
That kind
on
of glorious
Family
day
Life.
that Christian Stanfield's singing about, when Jesus and that hope is alive today. This is Family Life.
Woo, glorious day for this driver. You know how much I love records and world records and things. This driver broke the sound barrier, a land speed record in Utah, driving a 32-foot, 1,600 horsepower.
Oh, my.
Hydromax was one of them.
As if I...
Oh, man, 386 miles an hour in practice. Looking to broke the sound barrier. It's pretty amazing. And as you just recently heard, this is National Radio Day.
Okay.
And in honor of that story and radio's radio, you hear things.
Yes.
I was able to get...
That's true.
I was able to get a recording of this land speed record where they broke the sound barrier. And so here was the recording I was able to get of this amazing event. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I get. Yeah. We can't. He broke the sound barrier, so we can't hear it.
So we can't hear because sound is broken.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that's quite what it means, or what radio's for.
National Radio Day. It's amazing. It's amazing with that kind of stuff. Radio's lasted this long, huh?
Sharing the message of hope. It's Rise Up with Steve and Tim on Family Life.
On an early morning with a certain kind of weather, there is that moment when I get in the car where I think, oh, wait, hold on. Is there fog inside the windshield or outside the windshield? True. How do I get this clear? How do I see clearly right now? Because it's clear enough, but I can't tell where this fog is coming from. Okay, so I'm talking about your Christian hope, that sometimes your view of your Christian hope can get blurry. That happens to me. It happens to, I think, any one of us. Our view of that hope gets blurry. Our grasp on that hope can feel like it's slipping. But the way I want to say it today is a cloudy window doesn't put any clouds in a clear sky. Like if the windows or a failing grip does not threaten the security of a really snug harness. Like it's still on you. It's still snug. Just maybe you feel like your own grip on it is slipping. My confidence in my hope may at times feel doubtful, but the strength of my hope isn't how strongly I can believe in it. The strength of the hope is Christ himself. The durability of your Christian hope this morning, if that's what you've got, that durability is invincible, not because it's based on how hard you can hold on to it, but because Jesus himself is the one guaranteeing your hope. So praise God, even when my hold on hope isn't perfect, even when the glass is a little foggy, what's outside of that is still perfectly clear. The hope that holds me remains unthreatened.
May the blessings of the Lord be with you in all that you do today. This is Rise Up on Family Life.